Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I want to do a quick video on an instrument rack I put together the other day. It's been a goal of mine for a while to create an approximation of plum butter in Ableton, and I finally have something that I think is close. This rack is available to download for free from my Gumroad page and is made using only Ableton stock plugins. There will be a link to download in the video description. I actually created two racks, one that mimics the Rolz rhythm generator and one that covers plum butter's gongs, AV dogs, and ultrasound. I'm going to start by going over the sound generating rack. When you open the rack, you'll find that pressing a note on your keyboard will create a drum sound. This device generates sound in a similar manner to plum butter by using filter pinging. A short impulse is sent into a filter and causes the filter to ring based on the cutoff frequency. Increasing the resonance level will cause the drum to have a longer decay, and changing the drum frequency knob will adjust the pitch of the drum. Lower frequencies will sound more like a kick drum, and higher frequencies will sound like toms. In my rack, I capped the resonance level at 99%, but you can change that by clicking the map button and adjusting the ranges in the window. Anything over 99% gets into self-oscillation territory. The final filter-related control here is the filter morph knob. This lets you morph between a low-pass, bandpass, and high-pass filter. The next knob is the sample rate knob. Something I love doing on plum butter is running the gongs into the ultrasound module. It transforms the simple sounding kicks and clicks into glassy, almost metallic drums, and I knew this was something I wanted to include in my rack. I capped the range so you don't have to worry about lowering the rate too much and blowing out your ears. I'm going to skip the looper controls for now and move on to the note controls. These controls handle my take on the AV dogs. The note level knob introduces a sine wave. Note octave will multiply the frequency of the oscillator. The range on the note octave knob goes all the way up to 17, which is basically inaudible. If you mess with the sample rate reduction knob, you can bring out some strange artifacts like plum butter's ultrasound. Fine tune is just the fine tune control for operator and allows you to detune the main oscillator. The final knob here is the ping level control. You've probably noticed that each time I press a key, you hear the drum before you hear the actual note. The ping level control allows you to bypass the ping altogether if you just want to play a note. One thing to note here is that if you find that there's no sound when playing a note, your drum frequency knob may be too low. The filter is after operator in the chain, so make sure the frequency is all the way up when playing notes unless you want to filter them. The last set of controls here are for the looper and the output level. Output level is pretty self-explanatory. It's just a limiter at the end of the chain to ensure that nothing crazy happens, and can also be used to increase or decrease the overall volume of the rack. Now for the looper. The clear control turns the looper on or off. By default, it's set to off. The Ableton knobs aren't binary, so I'm not sure exactly where the switch off point is, but 0 is off and 127 is on. If I turn it on, you'll notice that every sound I make starts looping. Feedback level sets the level of the delay's feedback. At 100%, it allows for sound-on-sound looping. Delay time sets the length of the looper buffer. Since this is based on Ableton's Echo device, the max length is 2.5 seconds, which is also what I usually keep it at. The second rack is my Imitation Rolz. This is really simple. It just has an on and off toggle and a rate toggle. Inside there's a note length device which is set to hold the incoming note for 2 minutes, and an arpeggiator that is triggering a note at whatever interval you choose. I couldn't find a way with Ableton stock devices to hold a note indefinitely, but remembering to hit a note once every 2 minutes shouldn't be that hard to do. You can also just draw in a MIDI note that lasts as long as you want it to. I find that when using this, setting the feedback level to somewhere between 50 and 70% is a nice way to ensure that things don't get too crazy. That's going to do it for today's video. My goal with this device wasn't to create an exact copy of Plum Butter's sound or workflow. It was just to create something that get you started if you were looking to dive into this sound without dropping the money on the actual device, as well as shipping and customs fees. Hopefully this is useful, and if you really enjoy it, DM me a link to whatever you made on Instagram. Like I said in the beginning, there's a link to download this rack in the video description, and while you're at my Gumroad store, check out the sample pack I released last week. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.